All right, folks, welcome back to the show. Now, you know when these things happen, we we try to have some care and compassion for people who are being impacted by these ICE raids and what Trump is doing. But if you are a Latino for Trump, I literally don't care what happens to you. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't. Sorry. But remember the viral video and brother was like, it's above me now. That's really the position that I'm taking. I have zero compassion, zero concern, zero empathy for anybody who was a Latino for Trump supporter. And your ass now in trouble. Here's what I mean. Have y'all seen this story? Cuban activist Hector Luis Valdez Cocho. He founded Latinos for Trump and he rallied voters for Trump in Florida. His ass is now sitting in the ICE detention facility and likely is going to get deported back to Cuba. Now, Florida Senator Elena Garcia, also Latinos for Trump, blasting these roundups is intolerable, inhumane, and wrong, and this is not fair. Rebecca, all I have for them are thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts, prayers, salutations. I mean, you hate to see it, but not really. I mean, like, what are we doing here? This is so bizarre for people to think, oh, it's going to be everybody else but me. They supported a strong man, and now they're understanding what is a strong man, and it's not Hector.
Joe, I can't. I mean, I'm trying to right now be Christ-like.
Oh, Jesus was petty.
But I'm not.
It's not like Jesus wasn't petty. Didn't Jesus turn some behind at the church?
Hashtag we tried to tell you, Joe. Joe, I've got nothing for him. I just don't. Sorry.
Here's where I split it up. I'm still a Christian guy and try to be Christ-like. I come up short all the time, and I'll tell people when I do. And that being said, do I have some compassion for the families of people, the families that are connected to stupid people that make stupid decisions? Yeah, on some level. That being said, that doesn't mean that I get to save you from every consequence, right? You know, I really got free. Let's talk about being free and what freedom really means. Freedom really means that you can't always save people from their stupidity. That's what that means. So listen, I'm gonna try to help. You know, I'm suing people. I'm already, getting calls about, people in different situations or whatever else, even though I'm not really an immigration guy. But on some level, in my world, we have to prioritize, not only talking about legal world, just in social, your social circles or whatever else. You have to prioritize people that did what they could to help themselves. People make mistakes all the time, but this right here is walking into the street when you know that a car is coming and you think that somehow you're going to evade it, like you're going to walk through it or something, like this is ghost, you the ghost whisperer or something. No, this was going to happen. You could see that this was going to happen. And so therefore, what that means is that in the prioritization of my responsibilities and my priorities, I don't trip as much as I would. Now, I still, am concerned about some of the larger constitutional implications, doing things without due process, et cetera, and we'll be there on that front. That being said, there's 24 hours in a day. I need about 8 of it to sleep, and I'm going to. And I'm not as sympathetic as I could be for those that saw something coming or knew or should have known, as we say in the law, and still voted for him anyway. And hey, that's where I need help. Pray for me.
I want to associate myself with Joe. Joe, you speak for me. I struggle here. I want to be empathetic, and I am. But they made a huge mistake.
I just want y'all to know this is my position with Hector.
You just can't always keep people.
I'm just letting y'all know. Matter of fact, if I could get my eye mask, this is me with Hector. If my two phones were ringing and Hector was calling, it'd be on do not disturb.
Right.
Go ahead, Joey. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just don't.
Right.
Go on.
It's not just Hector. There's some Haitians in Florida who made a bad choice as well, and we see what's happening to them. There are some people who felt like we're different from African Americans, and whatever, and they went a different way. Everybody effed around, and they're going to find out. And while I certainly am going to help where I can, I'm going to start with, African Americans first. With, I just have to, because resources are limited. And like Joe, like Rebecca, I gotta focus where my energies are both respected and welcomed, and deserved. But anything that might spill out to the rest of us, we have to prioritize that. So to the extent that's true, absolutely. And let me just say to all protesters, no matter where you are, and I know this is controversial, but your goal is to convince Americans to be with you. Fly the American flag at your protests. Don't fly the Mexican flag. Make sure that you are, unfortunately, you're going to have to look at what we did.
Hell no, damn that, Joy. No, hell no, Joy. If them punk asses flew the Confederate flag and the Trump flag on January 6th, hell, fly your Mexican flag, fly your Venezuelan flag, fly your Costa Rican flag, damn them. No, I have no interest in appeasing these punk asses. If you are Haitian, fly your Haitian flag. If you are from Bermuda, fly your Bermudan flag. If you are from Sudan, if you are from Chad, if you are from the Congo, if you are from Sierra Leone, you from any of these countries, fly your flag. Because guess what? Them goddamn Irish folks fly their flag. We don't say shit on St. Patrick's Day. No, hell no. I'm not appeasing these racists. I ain't appeasing these damn racists. I don't care. I ain't appeasing. Listen, they don't even like the Puerto Rican. They don't even like. See, no. See, y'all talking about optics. They don't give a damn. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Every protester could be dripped in American hat, shirt, T-shirt, underwear, socks, shoes, jeans, and they will still deport their ass. That don't mean a damn. Listen, these fools are sending back No, you ain't. No, let me tell you something right now. You can't convince them. See, Joy, that's what I'm trying to get you. Just say damn respectability politics. You cannot convince them because they don't care. They are sending back Afghans who helped us win in Afghanistan. They don't care. That's what we got to understand. Donald Trump and MAGA doesn't care. They don't care.
Trump and MAGA. You're not trying to convince Trump and MAGA.
No.
You're trying to make
who are you trying to convince?
They are. You're trying to convince
They already monsters.
of Americans who
They
right now
rated,
support these races.
Joy, they rated an elementary school graduation. They rated an elementary school graduation. That's what they are. They already monsters.
They are, but we want Americans, some of whom are Democrats, some of whom are moderates, who don't support much of the way that these are being carried out, but who support the sentiment. They believe that if you are here illegally, you should not be here. I was just in a studio on Monday, and someone was telling me this, who supports our cause, who supports immigrants, but who feels like they shouldn't be here. Guys, this is a real sentiment. We got to stop believing that everyone feels the way that we do. They don't.
No. Hold on, let me be real clear. I understand sentiment. I understand sentiment. I'm real clear listen, I got a whole book on this. It's called White Fear. I understand sentiment. Okay? So this ain't got a damn thing to do with the sentiment. What I'm trying to explain to you is, I don't care if every single person in Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, Houston, Philadelphia, where protests are taking place, if every single one of them was waving an American flag, if they were sitting singing God Bless America and America the Beautiful and the Star Spangled Banner, do you know what the MAGA Republicans gonna say? Send their asses back.
You're right. I'm not talking.
That's what they're gonna say. So I'm not tripping.
And our family members who are looking at them and saying, you know what, I really hate what I'm seeing, but we want to help them remove the but by making sure we are bringing people along with us and that we are saying what's happening here is inhumane and this is wrong. And no matter how you feel about whether people should...
Joy, it don't matter. Joy, they firing bullets. Joy, they're firing rubber bullets at journalists. They don't give a shit. They don't care.
It's not them.
I'm telling you, right? These people
will never convince MAGA. It's my.
Well, guess what? Okay, well. Hold up. Okay, so what you're saying is moderates are going, you know what? I would be on the same page with you if only they weren't flying those Mexican flags. Hell no, they ain't saying that.
No, but I do think what it says is that you want to be here. And so how do we create an image? This is a TV show. We've said that a couple of times. You have got to create a TV show that appeals to the people watching and the audience. And if you don't believe that, then keep doing what you're doing. But I think that they're going to have to...
I'm confused.
What we did with the rights movement, what we did. Otherwise, you have to be strategic and you have to know your audience. And what we are trying to do...
So, no. We know the audience. We
differently in the midterms.
Okay, so I'm confused. Well, this is where I'm confused in, Rebecca, because these same folk go to Mexican restaurants. These same folk love them some salsa when they get chips, salsa, and guacamole when they go to restaurants. These same folk love dancing the salsa music. These same folk love them some Gloria Estefan. They love, the point I'm making here is there is nothing that you can do. You cannot put a suit on, put a tie on. You can't be quiet. You can't be, it doesn't matter. Where we are right now, these white folks are saying, we want all y'all gone. I have played that clip from The Under Shepherd. When the Matt Damon character says, when Joe Pesci said, we Italians got this, the Jews got this, the black folks, he didn't say black, he said the N-word, they got this, the Irish got the homeland. He said, what do you people have? And Matt Damon said, we got the United States of America, The rest of you are just visiting. That's just so you can't, there's nothing you can't do. Go ahead.
So I'm listening to Joy's argument, and yes, Joy, I saw those talking points too. So tonight I'm in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm not too far, it's less than an hour away where the Pettus Bridge is. If John Lewis had the flag draped around him, rather than his church clothes and his church hard bottom shoes going across that bridge, the outcome would have been the same. The dog still would have been sick. Like,
would have got his ass whooped. Would have got his ass whooped and would have wiped the blood in the American flag.
But one thing that was interesting is that when we saw the fights and we saw Bull O'Connor sick the dogs across Alabama, one thing that we noticed is that when it played on the nightly news, it was an effort to appeal to those white folks in the North. So they really understood that this is America. This is what's happening in America. Now, where I disagree with you, Joy, here is that it's not the Democrats or the moderates that I think this has to play out for as we go into the 2026 elections. But it's for those who opted not to vote. It's for those who decided they weren't going to be a part of the political process in 2024. So as they're seeing these American cities, they're seeing that the National Guard against the will of the governor is being called up by the president and is taking over American streets. Those are the types of folks that we need to get activated and for them to say, you know what, this is not okay. I'm actually going to use my voice here and I'm going to register my vote. And I'm actually going to vote here. It's not the moderate Democrats, because if you're a moderate Democrat and you're watching this and you go into the 2026 election cycle saying, the Democratic Party really hasn't convinced me that there's something wrong that's going on, then that's a whole different thing. But for those who have opted to not vote, not be a part of the electoral political process, it's those people that I think this is going to play out towards, and it's those people who I think are going to vote against the current regime in 2026.
Joe, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I mean, I'll briefly say to kind of sum it all up, I think you do have to leave, if you can, an olive branch as it pertains to the potential for convincing some people, whether it's the moderates and Democrats, whether it's the people that aren't voting. You really have to still make that presentation, even though we have reason, it would seem, for us to be pessimistic about that. Because I think that if people vote the way that they're supposed to, and that's who I'd lean toward, people that aren't voting, these elections won't be close. And so we really have to do that the best way we can.
Joy. So here's the thing for me. It's a whole bunch of these Latinos down in South Texas along the border flying their Mexican flags, but they standing with Trump. So again, and I've seen the arguments. Look at them. How dare they fly their flags? The reason I take the issue with this is because in this country, that's literally how white folks have been. You don't like it, go back to where you came from. Well, for us, that was the United States. That's how they operate. But them same white folks don't never take their ass back to Germany or Europe. So again, I get what people say, I just wish they would just fly the American flag. I guarantee you right now, if they all flew the American flag, them same folk, they're not going to change their sentiment. They're not. They're going to find some other damn excuse. Look at how they're dressed. Oh my God, look how loud they are. Oh my goodness, why must they block traffic? They just going to skip to the next thing. This is just one in the litany of things that they want to whine and complain about. Go ahead.
You're probably right. We're talking about everything that you can do to make sure that when the narrative is being created, you are making the other side look worse than you are. And I think Donald Trump is doing a great job at that. There's going to have to be more. Guys, look at your polling. The American people are not where we think they are on it. I hope it changes. I hope that if you do care about this issue, that you are calling into your member of Congress. Really, that's the only thing that matters. It's actually not what we see on TV and not what we see on the streets. You actually have to call in. If you care about these issues, you don't like what you see, you got to hit up your White House switchboard. You got to hit out your member of Congress switchboard. They have to believe this is going to cost them something. You have to be at the town halls, etc. That's the only thing that matters. That said, if you are a protester, I do think you have to be careful and strategic about the way you are being presented. And that is especially true. I'm glad that Rebecca brought up Bloody Sunday. One of the reasons we were successful is that America saw what happened there and they responded because it was so terrible. They wouldn't. So part of that, and we saw protesters who were nonviolent who were attacked. That was strategic in and of itself. So, Martin Luther King and everyone there, they were strategic. These protesters, I encourage them to be strategic as well. That's all I'm saying.
But there's a difference between, there's a huge difference between folk trying to get the right to vote and dressing up, being presentable, being nice, and you dealing with Jim Crow folk in the South. It's a difference between that and then you a parent and you at an elementary school graduation and ICE rolls in and parents flee, leaving crying kids at an elementary school graduation. It's a difference when so-called ICE agents in masks, showing no IDs, roll up to school saying, oh, the parents have given us permission to do a wellness check on their children. And the parents have given us permission to take their kids out of school. Straight as lying to the principal. The principal won't let them in. Then what happens is ICE people say, yeah, they with us, but they not really ICE agents.
Right.
So what's going on here? When these folks,
I'm talking about them.
When there are people, hold up. When there are people who are following the legal process and are showing up for appointments and are being snatched on their way to their appointment. They're following the legal process. When you got racists like Christopher Rufo, who literally posted this on his Substack. This is why the flag don't mean nothing. Christopher Rufo posted this. I read this yesterday, and I need to read it right now. This is the same white conservative who led the whole CRT and anti-woke, anti-DEI. He said, at the same time as we saw demonstrated in Portland, Oregon, during the George Floyd riots, the agencies should dispatch unmarked vans to follow key agitators and, quote, and this is what he says, and snatch them from the streets, bring all the panel up, and snatch them from the streets while the media are not looking. Says the most effective riot control is to take movement leaders off the field, infiltrate their networks, disrupt the flow of funding, and roll them up in federal investigations. He's denying the left-trained protest leaders now will create a strong precedent for the rest of the president's term. Rebecca, that is what one of their so-called thought leaders literally rolled out. This ain't got nothing to do with flags. These people,
Roland,
they are calling to snatch people off the streets unmarked. Trump is saying that he is going to send European citizens to Guantanamo Bay and will not tell their home country where they're located. Go ahead.
So, Roland, I'm in the movement space. I lead a national organization. Um, a lot of the conversation that especially other leaders of color are having is about personal safety, safety of our staff. I personally know movement leaders, whether it's state leaders, local leaders, or national leaders, who now have security detail. Like, this is a very real conversation, even as people are going in and out of the country discussing, okay, do I take my laptop? Do I take my cell phone? Do I disable the biometrics on my devices just in case that when I'm crossing back into the United States, I'm detained and they're searching through my personal or work items? This is a very real conversation. This is a conversation even across philanthropy, on the progressive side, talking about what does it look like to provide rapid support, security support, emergency support for those who are leading during this time. And so it's very real. It's very serious. This is also what, like, we keep using words like authoritarianism and totalitarianism and fascism. So another way of telling the audience, if we are a quote unquote nation of laws, if we have a constitution, if we're saying that people have the right to vote the way they want to vote, they have the right to speak out the way they want to speak out, they have the right to protest, they have all these First Amendment rights, which is the ultimate, the ultimate set of rights when we talk about First Amendment rights in this country. This president, this regime is saying that they're going to disregard it. They're saying it's not important. They're saying that they're above the law. And then last year, the Supreme Court said, well, the president could do whatever he wants to do because he is the president. So these are very troubling times. This isn't just something that I'm even saying in abstract. This is something having to live it out, having to talk to my staff and to make sure that they're not scared, make sure that their families aren't scared. So earlier when I was saying it's time for white people to use their white bodies and their white privilege, this is what I'm talking about. Because if you are Black, if you are brown, if you are perceived as an other in this country, they would deport you too. Let's not act like Black Americans can't, quote unquote, be deported in this regime. That's next. That's what's happening. The whole point of this is to silence people, to scare them, to stun them. So then he could spend the next 3 years doing things that will permanently impact and permanently harm this country.
Mm-hmm.
Final comment from Joe. Final comment from Joy. Then we are done.
We just have to make sense of everything that's going on. And if it doesn't make sense, we have to make sense of what it is that we do. We do have to be strategic about taking care of ourselves, about taking care of each other. A lot of these things have come to many of our minds. Everything from concealed carry permits on down. I mean, it is really on right now, the things that are going on and the things that we're thinking about. And at the same time, I think there is a way to do both. Yeah, we're in a different place as it pertains to what the government seems to want to do, as it pertains to what the president seems to want to do. At the same time, I say that there is convincing to be had, convincing to be made, so that people that are inclined to vote the right way still need to be brought out to vote. We still need to be very, very aggressive about creating opportunities to vote, about understanding the moving targets and that keep getting made and the barriers that keep getting removed. We need people in entertainment with big money to help us with voter things. If it has to do with making sure people can get to the polls, that they have voter IDs, if that's what it is that they need to have, we can no longer not vote, not participate because of the barriers that are put up when we have the numbers. So whatever gets us there, that's what I support. Whatever gets us there, participating, belonging, and watching out for each other so that when something's amiss, we know right away, and therefore we can respond.
Joy.
I agree completely with what Joe and Rebecca have said. Really, this is a time of strategy. If you are a leader of an organization, you need clear goals. And you need to be able to say no to some things because that's not your lane. And you need to say yes to some things so that you can focus. You need to be focused on what you need to do in order to convince the decision makers that you need to convince. Whatever that looks like for you, you need to be able to do that and to zero in and focus on that. We are getting way too distracted with every comment and every issue that comes about. It is not important. Clear out the shiny red objects, sparkly objects, and focus on that which you can change and who you need in order to achieve that change. That's our only goal now. The feeling part, if you are a leader, the feeling part is what should drive you to be more strategic. So that's for our civil rights leaders. That's for our women's rights leaders. That's for the Democratic Party and any Republicans who want to be with us as well. If you don't like what you are seeing, this is the time to be strategic, to not just be impassioned, but to be smart. That's where we are going right now because the stakes are for all of us are high, but there are certain people the stakes are the highest for. And if we care about them, we have to be smart.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.